UKLC is presented by Curry's PC World.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the UKLC Spring 2021. We are brought to you by Curry's PC World Gaming. Thank you very much for joining us here. And for you guys over on BBC Sport and BBC iPlayer, hello. We got multiple streaming platforms once again here for the UKLC, being broadcasted across multiple streaming services. My name is Jake Kitbray Matthews. I'm in the dark because I forgot to turn my light on, and I am joined by Jamada. First time on the UKLC, Chief. How are you doing?
Yeah, I'm not too bad. Of course, we managed to spend some time together during NLC Fall, but first time on the UKLC together. I'm super excited.
Yeah, I'm really excited to go with this. Getting excited to go with this show. Almost tripped over my words. So, last time round on the UKLC, I think we had probably what I would argue was the most fun tournament I've ever had the pleasure of casting. It was so tight. There was a lot. It was a really competitive season. And honestly, it made for some incredible League of Legends. I actually had more fun doing UKLC than I did NLC. And NLC was a blast, don't get me wrong. But UKLC, just purely because of how close and how tight it was super fun to watch. And I'm really hoping we get more of that going into this season. Jamada, last time it was a bit of a different situation because you were part of M&M at the time. So yeah. What was it like for your point of view?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, the fact that it was so competitive more or less just drove us to, step up our game even more when we could. We had a bit of a rough mid-split, but towards the end we managed to pull off, made it to playoffs, but of course we did end up falling to Envision, who went on to win the whole thing anyway. So it weren't necessarily the most feels bad thing, but we definitely felt like we could have maybe made it all the way.
Well, that's in the past now. Now it is here. Now, should talk about what's actually up for stakes here at the UKLC. What is to be won? The two teams that make it into the finals of our show, our tournament. I've completely forgotten how to do my job apparently over this extended break. The two teams that do make it to the end of the run will go forward into the Telia Masters. They're playing against other leagues from other teams from different leagues, all with a shot to make it to the NLC over onto the main league itself. Now, NLC will be broadcasting 3 days a week for this season. UKLC will be doing mostly 2-day weeks, but there are a couple of 3-day weeks, and I've already lost in the sea of messages what weeks we'll be having 3-day weeks, but we will let you know on social media and on Twitter, and well, that is social media, and on broadcast what weeks we're at. So let's actually have a little look at today's games and see what we've got coming up here for you at the NLC, and I can use this opportunity to get off camera and turn my light on. We started off with Demise versus Enclave, then it's Envision versus Demise versus Bulldog, and Enclave versus Envision, Resolve versus M&M, Barrage versus London. Jamada, do my job better. Tell me what's going on.
Yeah, I mean, we've got quite a few good matchups today. Of course, I think a lot of people are going to be looking towards the Resolve game naturally. The roster's come in with a lot of hype, and the organization in general has come in with really big goals and ambitions. So looking towards the Resolve M&M matchup. But away from that, I think our first game in the day potentially has something special to offer us, because we've got Demise with Rifty, who, Rifty during summer kind of dictated that the team had to be relatively top heavy. But Bulldog, Casper, if you manage to catch the promotion games on Friday, absolute menace from start to finish. So yeah. I think we've got, some potential shake-up to maybe happen when you've got such a bot-heavy team and a very top-heavy team on the other side. Yeah,
it's going to be a really good matchup. And let's see, while we got this chance, let's have a little look at our predictions that me and you did put up. We did actually go for the same teams today in our predictions for the 4 matches we have coming up. So Demise, Envision, M&M, and London are the 4 teams we all voted for. Obviously, Resolve are a team where I really have the chance. I think they have the chance to take M&M, definitely. You're a little biased. We can see from your picture in the predictions.
If you can't tell. All right. I do feel like Resolve definitely have the edge. I think there's no shame at all in saying that. But loyal follower till the end, yada. I have to predict M&M. It's just the way it is. But I think either way, we could be in for a really spicy matchup come that 3rd game of the day. Demise, though, I think me and you both together really feel like Rifty should be able to probably 1v5, assuming he gets all the resources. And the other 2 games, I think we're in for strong matchups. I think we're in for potentially snowbally games.
Yeah, I so hard. Like when I sat down and did that predictions for the day, for today. It was actually fairly hard for me to kind of come up with who I thought was going to actually take these wins. I've had a little look at all of the rosters. I'm really excited. Obviously, like this first one, the Demise versus Bulldog is going to be such an exciting one. So I'm really excited to get going into today's games. We do have a little bit more time before we do get going with our games today. So let's talk a little bit more about the kind of the broader picture and moving further on into the tournament. Who are we keeping our eyes on? Are there I want 3 teams and I want reasons why. Why do you think these are the 3 teams that we want to be keeping our eyes on into the latter half of the UKLC?
Okay, so I think the obvious one is Resolve, so I'm not going to dive too deep into them. Artorias looks like he should be on the top end of the top laners in this league. You obviously have Soft, who spent the last split with Tricked, and I mean, he looked like he was ready to potentially move on to bigger things. Ended up in Resolve, off seasons happen. And then, of course, Chimera reunited with his old friend, Soft. So, very strong top side. And then, of course, Yusa returning to the UKLC with Fast-Legged rounds out for a really strong roster. Away from them, though, looking into Enclave, I think Enclave could potentially be a sleeper good roster. Honestly, their bot lane look impressive. Only Angels returning with Cleanser. And then in the mid lane, they also have a Resident Mid. So I think you've got some potential there with Sykes there too. So I think Enclave Resolve. I'm struggling to not say Eminem just out of pure love. Potentially London. London could be another one to look out for. I would say probably those 3.
London were the team to watch last time around as well. So, I think that's a fair assessment. There's a lot changed as well. So if you guys have taken a bit of time off watching competitive league or even playing league, obviously there's been massive changes to the game at this point. We're now looking at the new items, season 11 and all that. What do we think this is going to do to the meta? What are we looking at going into this tournament? Because, obviously LPL and LCK have started up, and all our other leagues will be starting up fairly soon as well. But for a lot of us, we haven't had a chance to properly sit down and start to absorb some League of Legends from a kind of higher level of play. What are the big changes and where is the meta looking right now in League of Legends?
So fortunately, LCK and the LPL have started up, like you say. So we've been able to sort of get a brief look at what at least some of the top Eastern teams sort of feel like the game should be. And as things stand, a lot of the top side meta remains relatively the same. We have a few newcomers like in the mid lane with Victor sort of rising in priority a little bit. But for the most part, mid, you normally see Zoe and Orianna still returning. Top side champions haven't really changed. Jungle champions haven't necessarily changed too much. I think the big game changer is actually the bottom lane. With a lot of these AD carries, the new items have made some of them, they're a little bit too strong right now. We'll get into that. We'll probably see a few examples throughout the day. Gale Force needs a nerf immediately. But, you've got Shield Bow, you've got Gale Force, even Kraken Slayer is really strong. AD carries have loads of build path options right now. So I think we're potentially in for what could be a very bot-heavy meta. Though some teams may still stray away from that, some of the weak side bot laners are still relatively strong. Champions like Ezreal, for example, can still be played. So still a bit of flexibility, but primarily bot.
I want to throw you out there because I know you're a jungle player. How's the jungle changes affected with the fact that you don't have to go into a jungle item? Obviously, you start with the smite item, but once you get your 5 smites down, it evolves into whatever type of smite you want, whether that be red or blue. But kind of picking up first items, does this change the pool too much? Are there new champions coming into the scene? What are the new items looking like on some of these junglers? What is the jungle pool looking like, and how do you think this impacts either the pace or the play of the game?
Yeah, I mean, I think for the most part, the jungle pool has remained relatively the same, with the exception of the big one in my mind is the Talia, because she received a really bonkers buff in preseason where her Q now deals full damage, I want to say. It might even be bonus damage to jungle camps to help her clear. So she's really good. But for the most part, actually, AP junglers took quite a hit losing their Runic Echoes item. So I don't expect to see too many AP junglers outside of really Nidalee seems to be doing okay, particularly in the eastern regions. She's popping up a lot. Talia and Lilia, I think, still remains pretty okay because Leandre's is such a strong first item. So, jungle's doing okay. I think depending on who you ask, you might get a few, it's still really broken. It's pretty much the same. I think most people are probably looking at the AD carry role right now for strength.
So when we go to pick the bands, expect to see maybe some attention go towards the AD carry role. One of the things that you hit on as well was Demise's bot lane don't look as how how do I word this? They don't look as solid as maybe they could be a weak spot maybe because there's a lot of rookie talent there, right?
There's room for it. They're relatively ungauged. I know Kusi, the Demise support, has played one split over in Germany Div 1. And then for Zandra, I believe that's how you say his name, complete rookie. So there's not a whole bunch of experience there. And I mean, on the flip side, for Bulldog, I don't believe Poke has had a lot of competitive game time either, but seems to be a very talented player. And then you lop that up with Casper, who's a very high resource player. And if he does get going and he does get gold, saw on Friday, he really can take over games.
Yeah.
Albeit Nerd Rage, they weren't the strongest opponent. But if you're talking about a rookie bot lane, if there's any bot lane for them to do it to, it would be this Demise bot lane.
I think if there's any player to be with a rookie, to be a rookie on, is a team where you've got Rifty. The guy is so seasoned in the UK scene. He's been around for so long. He's been around longer than me. The guy is playing a lot of rookie teams, and he seems to always be there as this veteran top laner who is always developing kind of new talent, fresh players, people we haven't seen too much of. So I feel like if you are a rookie, Xandru, he is so lucky to be on a team with a man like Rifty because honestly, he's a superb top laner and can kind of take over games himself, but at the same time, does offer a lot of resources in teaching. Now, guys, we are going to go to a quick break, and when we're back, we'll be back with our first game of 2021 here at the UKLC. So, see you in a second for Demise versus Bulldog.
We're nearly in sync, but not in step just yet. When you time that look, you know this can't be second best. It's all in the timing. There's not a right way or a wrong way. It's just a short way or the long way. Get there together in our own way. Just the short way or the long way. Get there together in our own way. We'll slow us down.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the UKLC as we're getting ready to go into our first matchup of the season, Bulldog versus Demise. Now, let's have you bring up that rosters and let's see what teams we have. Nice new little graphic we got for us. Now, any players that's standing out to you other than Rifty? Let's just take that and walk away.
Of course. I think we've spoken enough about Caspar. I'm quite interested to also track his laning partner, Poke. Is actually a very high elo support, I believe. He's peaked in Challenger, and being a resident support player, I believe that makes him quite a rarity in the UK. So yeah, I really want to keep an eye on him, see how he does with Caspar into this bottom lane. And then on the other side for Demise, also Caterpillar, old player of mine. So nice to track how he does too in game, because I believe first time in the UKLC as a starter. So quite a few players to keep our eyes on.
We are into picks and bans. Now, we didn't really talk too much about this mid lane. So you mentioned that like the Orianna and the Zoe are things you expect to see. Yeah. So far, the Shen's just been taken away from Hachi. Do we expect to see any mid bans come through? Are there any of these players like really stand out to you? They got anything unique in their champion pool? Or do you think they're just going to kind of play the meta job here?
I think for the most part, we should see meta bans from here on out. Pantheon makes a whole bunch of sense. Pantheon is so strong still on this patch. Even though they sort of changed him around a little bit to try and move him away from the support role, it just made him more oppressive in just about everywhere else. So balancing Pantheon for you, really. Seraphine makes a whole bunch of sense. We saw Shiklin pilot that. It wasn't necessarily the best game, but Seraphine definitely shaping up like she could rear her head into some games. And Olaf, one of the strongest, if not the strongest jungler on this current patch. So no surprise to really see that one banned away.
Alrighty, well, one more ban here for the side of Demise. They're going to take away the Hecarim, something we've seen, a lot throughout Worlds, and like you're saying, hasn't really changed too much as far as the jungle pool has gone. So it makes sense to get that removed. There are still the options of things like Kha'Zix and Graves as well available in the jungle. So we could see something like that show their face here. See what Bulldog decide to ban away as their final ban.
Yeah, I am curious that Bulldog did ban away the Olaf in the sense of Molar only, I think. Well, he showed 2 games of Olaf, and I can't recall what the third game was. So I'm curious to see what his champion pool is actually like here. Akali is also another very mainstay pick ban. I want to say in the LPL, as of at least 2 days ago, it was 100% presence in pick or ban. So yeah, very potent champion right now. Let's see what the Demise want to prioritize, because there are quite a few champions up. I'll be curious to see whether they go with their AD straight away. And okay, well.
Was that meta? I don't remember him being in the meta. So Ivern, is this something new? What's going on here?
Okay, so Ivern's actually in an okay spot. I wouldn't go as far as saying blind pick B1, fine spot, but we'll see what the Demise have in store. So this is actually a champion Fennec's relatively comfortable on. So it's not like this is just some out of the blue thing. This does, however, mean Casper's going to get his hands on the Misfortune, which he had an absolute field day on Friday. So very excited to see him back on that champion. But going back to the Ivern temporarily, yeah, I mean, you've probably got the best person or one of the best people to talk about this champion with. So we'll have to see what kind of composition they want to draft. Ivern is really strong at the moment because of the Moonstone item, and then also an Imperial Mandate is very, very powerful. So primarily you want to see Ivern with bruises, but we won't go too far into it, just in case the Demise want to try and build some kind of one hyper
Lulu Cog.
Lulu Cog more like next champion. I think it would be pretty crazy to do now into the Leona MF lane, but
absolutely.
Hey, you know, maybe the Demise is feeling crazy.
That's a big one to talk about as well. This Leona MF, the level 6 spike, they've got that kind of all-in potential. Really, really terrifying stuff, but for Xandru going to get his hands on the Samira. We haven't seen it obviously here in the UK because it came out before it came out after we took our break and it wasn't enabled during the full tournament. So now for a final pickup here, are they going to go for something mid? We'll leave that open for a little bit longer and lock in a support. I have to see what they're going to do.
And I would imagine it should be Alistar, but I don't know if there's anything else you'd really feel like playing. I think Alistar's just the most sensible pick. It does really well into Leona, but last second swap for Rel. Okay, so I was talking with Pad yesterday about this champion, and honestly, I've had kind of mixed opinions and feelings on her. Apparently, she's really strong in lane, which I'm personally yet to see, but into a lane like MF Leona, I feel like it could definitely have a lot of success. And okay, we're getting a new Ivern game. first game of the split. All right,
I just like, I'm a little lost for words. The Rel pick is the thing that actually caught me off the most.
Yeah.
I always thought she was just a bad Leona. That was my take on her. I heard she was really good into things like set because she can turn shields off.
Yeah,
she breaks shields. But yeah, they're feeling like the Rel is the pickup here, and the reason I'm very, very like under practiced with Rel. Rel is quite a low play champion at the moment, and I can prove this because one of my friends who is currently Silver 2 is in the top 1,000 Rel players. That's how little people are playing Rel. There's a Silver 2 player who's in there, so we'll see.
Yeah, Rel went under the radar a little bit just because of the timing at which she was released.
She hasn't even got Eternals. Like, she actually doesn't even have Eternals.
Yeah, that's unfortunate. But looking towards the bans here, I think Set and Wukong just straight target bans towards Rifty.
Yeah.
This guy absolutely loves those two champions. Syndra, just a very standard, stable mage pick. I wouldn't be surprised to see something. Oh, okay, they want to go for the Camille ban. All right. I didn't necessarily associate Hachi with any kind of carry play after Friday. He was really on tank duty, but I believe his opponent Seracus was also a very big carry player, and they just wanted to kind of keep him in place. But this does mean Shiklin is going to get his Orianna, and we didn't really touch much on Nunu, more or less because it's Nunu, but pretty much just picked up. It's a decent enough matchup into Ivern. You can just always eat the Daisy, consume the Daisy, and she basically is a non-factor. Ivern ends up not really having an ultimate ability, so.
I really like the Orianna pickup as well, because Rel plus Orianna is actually a really filthy combo. They basically have a similar ultimate in the way that they mechanically work, with the big kind of AoE pull everyone into the center. So that combo is actually really devastating, and you do have a massive wombo, which allows Andrew to kind of build up the combo so you can actually get the ulti off. But it's just going to be the Zoe pickup here for Pillar, and now we're looking towards the top lane. What is Rifty going to be picking up to kind of compensate and make up the rest of the team? He's going for something very aggressive here in the Aurelia.
Yeah, and throwing down the gauntlet, this is one of Ivern's also best pairings. So if you ever want to put resources into a champion like Irelia as a jungler, if you're not picking something that's hyper-aggressive ganking, like, Elise or Talia to sort of stack up the CC, Ivern is one of your best bets, buffing Irelia up with all of these shields and giving her roots and setups. And gap closes on top of that. It's a very scary thing to deal with. I expect, Hachi actually wants the Aatrox. So this is definitely a bit of a skill matchup here. I can't actually recall which way this goes, but Aatrox dealing with Irelia and it being Rifty with an Ivern.
I was like, it's hard to call without the nameplates on, but then you look at Rifty and you're like, Rifty's got an Ivern. I think this is probably him. Let's take a bit of a larger step back and actually just look at the full 5-on-5 and the team comps and what they're looking to do. What are the win conditions for both Demise and Bulldog in this game number 1?
Yeah, so I mean, I'll take a look at Bulldog first, and I'll say it's very much kind of a standard team fight-ish composition. Of course, the one sort of outlier to this that you don't often see is the Nunu, but still pretty much there's this huge meat shield with CC, slows, just effectively there to buy space for the MF and the Orianna to do their work. And then on the other side, with Demise, it's a bit weird. You can do quite a few things with this composition, I feel like. If you want to go into sort of a 1-3-1, 1-4 kind of setup, you definitely can, especially if the Irelia starts going, because, I mean, if Irelia gets ahead in this game, I don't know who's supposed to 1v1 her on the side lane. And at the same time, this team composition, if they can find flank angles, can certainly find decent enough team fights into this Bulldog lineup, but I would probably place my bets on Demise, maybe looking at more of a split push angle here.
Yeah, it feels like for Bulldog, they've got a very simplistic kind of like, you're going to have to walk through a lot of stuff to get to the people you want to get to.
Yeah.
And for Demise, there's a lot of options. There's a lot of flexibility, but sometimes the rule of simplicity is actually more important. It's something that Orcs talked a lot about during the NLC and the UKLC last time around, was easy to execute. And I guess that's the question I need to ask. Which comp is got the easier to execute comp right now?
Certainly Bulldog, I think without question. And it's also something I preached a lot during NLC4. We saw it. It was the common trend was whichever team was drafting the easier to play compositions, they often just won out by nature. And even to the point where we would see upsets where everyone on the desk was expecting one team to win, but an easier to execute composition will just always win out.
All right, well, we'll see whether or not that is going to be the truth, or whether or not that might be Demise could challenge that. You know, there are a team like who could be capable of challenging the easy to execute here. They've got a great comp. They've got good options to win through. If they do fall behind, I do feel like it is going to be really hard for them to come back into this game, purely because the Nunu slowing everyone down into a big solar flare, into the bullet time, into the shock, where it's just, there's so many big AoE ultimates that will just melt your health bar before you have time to react, that if you're behind, this game is going to feel impossible to pull back. But over on the side of Demise, if they control the game and play for their style, and they're the ones in control of the tempo, it's going to feel like Bulldog are just being pulled from lane to lane, or from fight to fight, or from objective to objective. And that's what I'm looking to see. Who can get control of this game early and can hold on to that control as well? Because it's not just a matter of like, okay, we got a couple of Drakes early, got first Tower Blood. You need to keep that going, because I feel like either team, if they get the opportunity to get the ball in their court, they will run with it. Yeah,
absolutely. I think that just by nature of how these two comps are likely going to end up interacting with each other, whoever pulls out a really strong lead, I think they might just be able to go with it the whole way. I think with Nunu in the game, naturally we also have to talk about objective control. This Bulldog composition, I feel like if it ever gets lane priority around things like Dragon or Baron, and it forces Demise to walk into them, Demise are going to struggle. Albeit they do have the Zoe for, you know, a lot of long range pokes. So if they can find angles for that to occur, then Zoe, of course, can have a bit of a field day herself. But Bulldog, I think around these objectives, particularly having Nunu, looking to force a lot of lane priority, and just have Nunu be able to get on those dragons, stack them up early. You know, soul win condition is normally what you sort of think when there's champions in the game.
So we have a quick pause, unfortunately. We will be getting into game as quick as possible, but you know, it's not the UKLC if we don't have pauses. So
exactly.
Here we are. Let's talk a little bit more about this jungle. Like, this is something, you know, you're a jungler. It's been a while since you've seen an Ivern. It's been a bloody long time since you've seen a Nunu as well. You were talking about, you know, obviously Daisy can just be eaten by Mola on the Nunu, but how does this matchup actually go? What are we looking at early? Is there invades we're going to be seeing, or is one harder to invade than the other? What is the plan for both the Nunu and the Ivern in the kind of 1 to 6 bracket of the game?
You know, I'm so glad this is the first jungle matchup I get to call.
Yeah, you get crazy.
Yeah, so I mean, on the Ivern side, I think typically you want to try and avoid earlier skirmishes. Not that Ivern isn't necessarily too good at skirmishing in general, but Nunu just has a little more to offer in terms of CC, and then just in general, you kind of look across the lanes that he's got, and with the exception of maybe mid, you know, Mola's setup is far better. So you probably just want to try to look to keep Nunu in check in terms of keeping him tracked, trying to just dissuade him from ganks, but not necessarily participating in counter ganks per se. And then on the Nunu side of things, I mean, you primarily kind of have a lot of freedom to do whatever you want. If you want to try and get an early invade in with Prio, do that. If not, looking for lanes to gank is totally fine. Both these champions scale quite well, but Ivern eventually will begin to outscale with the utility.
It's one of those things where early, as a laner, as like a solo laner, the worst thing you could see is that snowball slowly building up, and then the Nunu pushing it, coming into lane. You're like, I'm in trouble. It's the Ralph Wiggum meme where he chuckles, I'm in danger. That's what's going to happen. I actually, if I was Mola, I'd like to see him shut down Rifty and Pillar early. Zoe obviously can be quite hard because of the fact that she can pick up summoner spells, and when you've got your W as well, you get extra movement speed on using summoner spells, or even just stealing whatever kind of items and things get laid on the floor by the minions for you. But without that, Zoe is actually very immobile. It's one of the things we've always talked about is Zoe's got a lot of pseudo mobility, and if she gets caught, she has really no way to get away without using a flash, because even with 6, all you do is you hop in and then you hop back out. So you have to dodge a lot with that jump. So I'd like to see Mola be very proactive towards these solo lanes. Bot lane is kind of, you know, once they hit 6, it's going to be really nasty, and especially if you can bring a Nunu down into that. But for now, I think Mola, try and get the top and bot going, top and mid going, and then look about that bot lane later.
Yeah, I definitely see no harm in that. I think if you're able to stunt Rifty's scaling in any way, then definitely go for it. But it can be a bit daunting going up to the Rifty lane with the utility support champion that Ivern is. I think when you're actually dealing with such a relatively immobile bot lane, because, you know, sometimes Samira decides to cosplay Karina, you know, when you've got the setup of Leona, I think that's enough CC to always burst down either Kusi or Xandru on these two champions. So, you know, we talked about Caspar really looks like coming into this that he is going to be Bulldog's primary sort of win condition in a lot of games. Not to discredit Hachi or Shiklin, but looking at that series on Friday, that's just how it looks to me right now. So
yeah,
I think putting resources into this guy, I mean, Caspar in itself, he's got this meme of, hey, he will have 300 CS at 25 minutes if you leave him unattended to. Like, he just will. So give him the resources, I think it's totally fine. Like we said, Bulldog, quite flexible in what they can do. Demise, with this Irelia pickup and it being blind and pairing with the Ivern first pick, it just screams to me that they do eventually just want to sort of stack that shield on top of the Irelia.
Looks like, looking at the chat, we have some good news. The lag issues we were having have been resolved, and it looks like our teams are getting ready to take to the Rift for the first game of the year here at the UKLC, the first game of the season. Demise versus Bulldog. Now, Bulldog, remember, are a team who literally the other day joined us here. They were able to play their way through the promotion tournament on the UKEL channel. So for them, it's them proving everything here. And a win over Demise, a win over a team that has Rifty, a seasoned player like this, is a great statement for them. But we are on to the Rift for Demise versus Bulldog.
On the Rift indeed. Bulldog, you know, they had a quick vacation away from the UKLC, but they very quickly returned, looking to find their first win in, well, 18 games. And what a statement I think it would definitely be to take down Demise. As early game, looks like we're not going to get any crazy shenanigans. Very defensive sort of scrummage points from both sides here.
Somewhat expected, to be fair. I don't think Ivan is really going to be doing any invading.
Yeah, not into Nunu.
Nunu Leona is not something you want to invade early.
No. I think if you're Fennec right now, I think flipping the game is one of the worst things you'd probably need to do. I mean, Ivan invading used to be really good, but it kind of, you know, it fell out of flavor with a lot of the Ivan players. Just kind of opt into very standard near full clears because you don't really need a leash from any of your laners. So very happy to just mark everything up.
Jamada,
yeah,
welcome first of all. I know you did a couple of the shows at the end of last year, but this is your first time on the show with us. I'm going to put you on the spot here. What does Rel do? But there's a lot of people who probably don't know what Rel does, and you're the color caster, so this is your job. Tell them what Rel does. Okay,
so Rel is like a CC tank meat shield. She's a CC bot, right? She can, in a way. Oh, I'm gonna have to pause because Pillar's getting level 2 again.
This is what I was talking about. Burn that flash nice and early on Pillar. Means that's one very exposed Zoe now.
Yeah, so Pillar definitely can be exploited again now with no flash. Nunu loves flashless champions. He can sometimes be slept before the snowball hits, but it's really rare. So Zoe is one of the few champions where she doesn't really have much defense versus Nunu ganks. So have to keep our eyes on Mola to see whether he returns. But talking about Rel, yeah, CC bot. You'll see as things go on. I feel like she does have positive matchups into a fair amount of the melee champions. I don't believe I've watched over a Rel Leona matchup yet. So questions around this matchup in particular. On the top side though, seeing Rifty take priority is no real surprise in the early levels. Aatrox can't always contest the potential shove, as Hachi's gonna probably take a terrible trade. Oh,
Tower Shock did do a bit of work there for him.
Yeah, evening up. And Rifty, I don't think he's gonna be able to get a cheat recall out of that crash, unfortunately for him, which would have been nice, but not quite able to push in the lane fast enough. As things very quiet, bar that mid-level 2 gank. Both junglers on either side of Skull.
One of the things to kind of keep in mind with Rel is how painfully slow she is. Considering she's riding a horse, she's actually quite slow. Might have to hold that though, as Pillar has found himself a pretty nice trade onto Shelky, but now you're in trouble. The big old ball is coming in, but Fenix there with a shield and Pillar. Going to be okay, so it will make a way. Just a nice little trade there for the moment for Demise.
Yeah, Bulldog not really willing to commit because they saw Fennec clearing the ward. Fennec actually able to get a little bit of counter jungling done on Mola's Raptor camp because Mola decided for the level 2 gank. or opted for the level 2 gank, I beg your pardon, missed out on his Raptors. So Fennec gets that in, but if you look at Mola here, looking for some camps to take, but he isn't going to be so lucky.
Yeah, looking to see if he can make his way down here. Hasn't been spotted out by that ward as he pulled off in time before getting spotted. As already 4 minutes of game time has passed. Bot lane's only level 3 for the moment, but these mids are closing in on that level 6 mark. So Shockwave coming slowly through for our Orianna in the mid lane. Pillar, with that gank early and being kind of forced out, is a little bit behind in the experience department at the moment. Only just got level 4 to themselves. See if Cozy decides to make any plays happen, but in comes the paper ball once again.
Okay. Sticky
notes are flying in, and Xandru could be in for a lot of hurt here. Does jump away with the wild rush. Pillar once again just taking a really nice trade here. This is Shiklin.
A little bit of return damage. Yeah, Shiklin definitely getting the worst end though. And yeah, just on the bot side, not really willing to commit just because the Demise bottom lane a little bit too close to the tower. But you can see there, that lane position for Hachi is really not favorable. One misstep, especially with Rifty, you know, well, he's still a little whiles away from level 6, but you do make that one, you know, one misposition, get hit by that stun, it's an immediate all-in.
Oh, Rifty. Takes a pretty horrible trade there, actually. Satachi's just going to go in and finds first blood. Hitting level 6 as he gets it. Rifty down.
Well, to hell with all the expectations. Hachi picks up the solo kill on Rifty. Makes it look pretty damn easy.
Unfortunately, we have another pause. Yeah, we have another pause. It wasn't Rifty just going, that was unfair. Unfortunately, we do. We have a couple of lag issues. Yeah, like I was saying at the beginning, it's not the UKLC if there aren't pauses. And we are still, as you can see, doing this show from home. So there always will be a few hiccups with everyone being kind of all over the place at the moment. So unfortunately, you just have to bear with us, and thank you for sticking with us through this. But hopefully we get back into the action. But that's a really big pickup for Hachi now. Getting first blood on Rifty, now got the level 6. So has the ultimate available, and I've forgotten the name of Aatrox's ultimate. It's been a while since I've seen him.
Well done.
But yeah, big one.
Got you. Yeah, and that's really huge. I feel for this game. You know, we've really did raise the expectations for Rifty to, I mean, realistically probably dominate Hachi. But honestly, Hachi seems relatively comfortable so far into Rifty. So with him picking up that solo kill, it definitely does mean that he may be able to sort of, you know, take control of the tempo of this lane and maybe snowball it into a bigger CS lead here and potentially even another solo kill as things progress. But yeah, big pickup, and we'll have to see what kind of implications it may have on the rest of the map.
Oh, going in there with the stun as Xandru just wild rushes through. Casper's ignited. The Bladewell's there, and Pillar's picked up a flash. Fennec's going to make his way forward and auto attacks for the kill. Poke dodges away on the sleep, and that will be him out of there.
Yeah, and very nice TP from Pillar, I believe. I want to say he's running Spellbook, so that's how he ended up down there. Yes, all right. So teleport picked up with Spellbook. Nice deep ward from the Demise bot lane, and they find themselves a very easy pickup. Casper blowing his flash, now going to be very vulnerable to a repeat gank. Unsurprisingly, there wasn't a dragon on the back end of that. Would have probably been a pretty big time investment. And not only that, Ivan's not really the best dragon taker in the game. He might even be one of the worst as far as junglers go. So weren't willing to pick it up on the back end of that play. But we do see, actually, Kusi has made his way up off of a reset, I believe, to the top side. Looking into this red buff, I'm not sure they're going to be able to secure it, but
that's going to be another smash down from Kusi onto Mola. Mola gets a lot of health back there as Fennec is looking to try and take this one away, but one more consuming. Actually, Kusi's the one to steal it as Rifty slides in forward, and Fennec finds his second kill on the Ivern. Now Poke and Shiklin closing in. Hachi as well, going to start to knock up Rifty, getting all of those demonic smashes down. But now, in the bottom side, Shiklin's been found out, and Pillar will secure the kill as Rifty walks away to safety. That's just 2 quick kills for Demise.
Yeah, very nice rotation from Kusi, actually, and sort of in line. I'm very impressed with a potential Herald take if they wanted it, but this being the weak side for Demise is definitely what could have been considered a very off-tempo, or Bulldog shouldn't be expecting this invade, basically, is what I'm alluding to. So very nice play from the Demise jungler and support there, making that roam. They pick up Mola. I think Rel is the one that secured the red buff away, funnily enough. And somehow, in the midst of it all, Shiklin managed to die. So not too sure how he managed to find himself caught out, but I believe trying to just help out in rotation. Likely just got caught by a sleepy trouble bubble, something along those lines. And yeah, quiet time again.
As we take a moment to chill.
Yeah. I think as... Oh. Hey, camera. Big zoom in on the bot lane. Both junglers on this side of the map. I'm actually kind of surprised we haven't seen a little more priority from Mola to try and start up a really early dragon. Just particularly Ivan, not the best at like contesting it. As I say it, he of course feels the need to start it up.
It's still a bit of a slower one.
Yeah.
Ocean Drake's quite nice to them early, but it looks like Demise, they have an idea of something is happening here. Fennec is hanging about in the wings. But
So
Dragon's going to go. There's not really going to be contest.
Yeah, they realize that it's happening. So at the very least, the Demise bottom lane just holding a freeze to at least make Casper and Poke miss something for their troubles, as Fennec's not on the other side of the map to try and make a cross-map play.
Pillar really bullying here in the mid lane though onto Shiklin.
Yeah.
Pretty sizable lead in the CS department at the moment. Obviously, it's been somewhat alleviated in the gold graph by the fact that Casper's doing a pretty good job of keeping himself up in his lane. There's now Rifty, got the Infernal Chains in. It's pulled back to the tower shot connection. Actually, he just pops World Ender, throws down the ultimate. Rifty's trying to sustain here. Doesn't quite have the stun in time. Actually just gets a second kill on Rifty, easy as.
There's not much to really say about that. It's just a very curious decision-making from Rifty. In all honesty,
you're in trouble. Does have the Blade World to block out. Jumps out to safety there. Will lose a plate or two here in the bottom lane, but is able to survive the gank.
But I have to say, this is definitely a big concern for Demise. You pick up the Ivern first pick and then you round it out with an Irelia blind. It almost seems like they were likely just planning for that the entire time. So if they were intending on playing around it, things are definitely going to feel a little bit awkward at the moment for Demise. But all credit to Hachi at the moment. Fully smashing expectations. 2 solo kills onto Rifty.
Yeah, really, really good stuff from him. We do actually see potential gank coming in as Pillar on the run as the paper snowball is coming down. Is able to dodge away, and Fennec was able to take the Rift Herald in that time for himself. So with Mola showing bot lane, uses the opportunity to pick up that. Question is where is he going to use it?
Yeah, I mean, you know, usually had Rifty not died 2 times, I would have just immediately said, you know, top lane. But I wonder if they're going to feel a little bit of ways about wanting to drop the Rift Herald top, as I believe Rifty's probably calling Fennec to come and break this freeze because it's definitely not the best position. You can see Fennec kind of thinking about just staying in the bush, but just walks in the lane, drops the shield, allows the wave to crash in, and now Rifty's in a less awkward spot, but you can see Hachi's strong enough to kind of just do this.
I mean, he's going
right
all
now.
in, got the Darken Blades. Rifty's getting chunked out.
I mean, he can follow up. Mola's here.
Mola's making his way forward. They do look to stun him up there. But Hachi is just so big right now.
Yeah, I'm very, very impressed with Hachi so far in this laning phase. Really kind of just... I'm just going to say, he's kind of manhandling Rifty at the moment. Very, very
popping off right now is Poke, avoiding the poke. Was trying to clear out that vision, but wasn't going to get it in time as the sweeper times out. Rifty kind of really wants to play the Maroon King before he starts to feel comfortable versus Hachi. Obviously had to buy an Executioners to deal with the sustain that the Aatrox does get, especially when the World Ender is on. Now Rifty once again, the Infernal Chains on. Hachi might just get another here. Rifty trying to dodge away, trying to slice steal his way up. Throws out the Vanguard's Death as he flashes away to safety, but Hachi brings down the blade one last time and gets himself the kill. Meanwhile, in the mid lane, Pillar does find first turret blood.
I am just lost for words. This is certainly not the Rifty that I remember being so scared of in summer. But again, Hachi just finds himself another solo kill. Rifty just a little bit too far up the lane. He's never really been able to control the lane stay, it feels like. So just very easily run down every single time he gets caught by an Infernal Chains or a Darkin Blade. Feels like. And in the meantime, at least, for Demise, they did manage to pick up that mid lane tier 1 with the Rift Herald, but things on the top side, it's really hard to ignore. Looking in the inventory, though, Fennec and Pillar have finished up their first items, which definitely very big.
Oh, we're in for some action. Solar Flares here. Hachi's there as well. The bullet time is just absolutely massive. Xandro will go down, and Klossy on the run as the Shockwave will pull Rifty in. Rifty loses his life to Shulkin as well, and this is just 2 versus 5. Pillar turns up to the fight way too late. Gonna look to get a little bit of damage off here and there, but unable to find it. Daisy going to be a bit of a frontliner for the moment, as they do get a big knock-up from Fennec on Daisy, and now they're looking to turn it around. They do have that Magnet Storm to work with, as a great ultimate comes out from Mola to slow down Closey. Closey goes golden for the moment, but he will lose his life as Casper secures the kill. Bubbles and Snares are going to connect, but everybody on Bulldog survives. Beautiful start to this game from the newcomers to the UKLC.
Yeah, it's a really well-timed play. Double teleport, or single teleport.
Oh, the base actually got reset. He's going to flash in. He can't quite find it. Gets the slowing smite down for the moment. And Pillar trying to get a little bit more. Got a flash to work with. Does get connected onto by Poke. And now Poke, you are doomed, my friend, as Pillar secures a kill.
All right. Well, Poke feeling like doing a little bit of charity work. I'm not quite sure whether Casper was actually going to drop to that final battle star. I'm leaning more towards no. But yeah, definitely very explosive start to this game. Do have a replay on our screens, and you can just see nice teleport. The rest of the Demise aren't quite here to respond yet, so Bulldog just fully playing into numbers advantage here. 5v3 before anybody on Demise can really respond. Pick up Rifty. Rifty has no ultimate, so he has no business really teleporting down here, in all honesty. The Bulldog really just kind of make the play look easy. There's nothing really to talk about. We do see Mola on the back end, of course, get rooted up and doesn't manage quite to die. The Nunu healing, so obnoxious. And there's Kuzi in the end. Pays for it with his life. And then on the very back end, Pillar manages to find himself that Sleepy. Is it Sleepy Trouble Bubble or Sleepy Bubble Trouble?
It's Sleepy Trouble Bubble. I know that because, sorry, Sleepy. Yeah, Sleepy Trouble Bubble. I used to get flamed all the time for saying it, and now I just say bubble. Like, people used to get very upset with the fact I got one word the wrong way around. Like, very upset about it.
Okay, well, I think we just call it bubble and we ignore the rest of the ability name.
And if you do get upset by one word being mixed up with another, what's wrong?
Yeah.
You okay? I hope you're all right. It's
bad.
It's only a game.
Yeah. It's only a game. Bulldog, though. Looking like they're going to have priority around this next dragon. More than likely. They don't have mid lane priority, of course. Losing that mid tier 1 does mean that Demise can force very high up the lane, but moving Shiklin down to this bottom side means they just open up through the bottom side of the map as opposed to mid.
Yep. They do get a second dragon here. It is quite a late dragon, to be completely fair.
I don't know about this.
Yeah, that's a 3-level lead top side, and he just got the Mountain Soul. Or Drake, sorry.
I mean, Hachi, he's throwing up the thumbs up. He knows. Like, I mean, it's a free map. Okay, Gordrink is broken.
Now he's in trouble. That's
okay, he got hit by everything. Okay, well.
I think Rifty needs this shutdown. Rifty doesn't even get the assist. That is tragic.
Just give it to Pillar. Give it to Pillar at this point. Don't make Rifty worth gold. We've got to play on the bottom side. Okay.
Pillar looking for a good bubble. Doesn't actually connect it. Great cleanse comes out instantly, though.
Yeah, very nice cleanse. Very nice bubble from Pillar. Oh yeah, Hachi finally dies. Shut down over to Pillar. Unfortunate for Rifty to not pick up at least the assist, as thank you, Observer, for the gold hover. Looking across. Hachi, no surprise, up 1,000 gold. Kind of actually expected to be a little more than that, but I think Rifty's maybe had a couple of these plates go in his favor. As the Demise top tower is definitely pretty healthy. And
I mean, to be fair, considering how much Rifty's died, he's actually done a good job of keeping himself relevant in gold, all things considered. Especially when, remember, we were talking about, oh, well, they used the Rift Out top side. They used it mid to get Pillar unlocked. And if we toggle back to the items, we can start to see where this is starting to translate now. Blade the Ruin King finished for Rifty with that Executioner's cooling, so he's going to feel a little bit more comfortable fighting Hachi, who has finished up that Gore Drinker for himself. I can't remember what the name of that item Fennec got off the top of my head.
Moonstone Renewer.
Thank you. I still haven't played many enchanters since Season 11 started, so I've kind of missed that. You got the Ludens onto Pillar. with the Medjais as well. Shield Bow onto Xandru, pretty much expected stuff there. Gale Force onto Casper, and Illudens onto Shilkin as well. So these kind of mythics are starting to come through. Obviously, Aurelia, one of those champions that doesn't really prioritize their first item as a mythic and looks to go for the blade into most likely a Trinity Force here as the next item. Can go Thunder as well if needs be, but I can't expect to see the Triforce.
Yeah, the Triforce also the mythic passive I believe, gives you more attack speed, so it's right up Aurelia's alley. But yeah, normally you actually see the Aurelia just opt into the Bork still, just like last season, as looking onto Hachi potentially, but I don't think that's gonna work this time without the help of Pillar, who I mean was on this side of the map but wasn't particularly close, as I think.
And that's the members, gets a good bubble off. Cozy is caught out and on his own. Magnet Storm not been burnt quite yet, as he does throw out a Shattering Strike onto the back of Hachi, but barely tickles him. Shiklin able to make a way to safety from the mid lane for the moment, and Wave shoving in the top side from Rifty, so Hachi's going to have to go grab that one. And it looks like for now, this is just going to be the Rift Herald summoned here in the mid lane, and a bit of a brute force here from Demise, as all that bubble was so close to hitting Shiklin.
Yeah, if Shiklin gets hit by that, honestly, he might just die in CC.
Yeah.
With a follow-up brute from Fennec. They are going to take the mid-tier 2 with this Rift Herald, so opening up the map even further.
Oh, just cancelled the dash.
Yeah.
Is Xandru going to get some free time on the bot lane turret? There's a fair amount of damage to it.
Yeah.
Fennec running away from Shiklin and Mola.
Yeah, and you can see with this gold graph, it's been, you know, dipping actually into Demise's favor more often than not. I believe a lot of this pretty much coming out of Pillar more than anyone. And if I had to take a guess, every time that gold graph dips closer to Bulldog's side, that's just Hachi getting solo kill or that team fight at the bottom lane. But Casper, this is what Casper does, by the way. He's on Wolves, even though Mola's on that side of the map. This is not
massive CS lead.
Yeah. Yeah, and I mean, it's only up 1,000 gold, but or 1,200, but you know, still a lot of gold to be up.
That's a pretty significant lead.
Yeah, it's still up. It's a lot to be up by, and
when we are looking at a team who have a 2k gold lead, the fact you're 1,000 gold up when you're down as a team is pretty good there. So Casper could be that shining light for the team. Almost got the collector as well. Finished up 425 gold until that is done.
Yeah. Bulldog taking priority for the river. They want this third dragon a lot, as Hachi's even been cooled down whilst he has teleport. So you can see the importance. Yeah, Shockwave
needs
could
to be
come
careful. Will be spotted out by the Orianna Bulls. They do clear out this vision for themselves. As Fennec actually just jumps over the wall.
It's just
the seed cooler.
It's so dangerous for Demise to walk in here.
Oh, Hachi's actually found Cozy here. They got the teleport, they got the bubble. Cozy comes in, gets a three-man Magnet Storm. Xandru's starting to charge up here, building up for the Shockwave. But lands onto Cozy. The ball time is absolutely disgustingly big, though. Xandru gets knocked up, dashes backwards. The combo breaker is coming forward. Ultimate available for Xandru, but everybody else is too low. Now Pillar trying to poke out a couple of members. Gets them low for the moment. There's a 1 for none in favor of Bulldog, but their health bars are low, and Pillar is looking to poke away. Crab has been secured. Demise, they want to continue the fight here. They don't want to give up the dragon, and Poke is just going to stand on the outside, gatekeeping the entrance towards this dragon as Hachi comes in onto the flank, flashes forward as the Battle Star goes wide, and here comes Hachi. Rifty flashes over the wall. They do get themselves a kill onto him, and now Demise, they've got the go button. They want to collapse in, but the movement speed from the Scuttle Crab gives a bit of space as Pillar throws out the bubble, misses it out there. Seed is going to go wide as well, and Demise are continuing to chase here. And they might actually be able to find them over the wall as Pillar. Actually, we'll just be looking to stop some bases. They do catch out onto one. The bubble connects, and this will be a dead jungler. Or will it? Shiklin's making his way in. Xandru is going to come forward, and Fennec finds himself his third kill on the Ivern. Probably not the person you want to be finding these kills, but he is getting them.
Yeah, and you know, it's probably not terrible. He is stacking up these items quite fast, so shield strength definitely can mean a lot in these team fights. But yeah, I mean, this fight, honestly, it kind of started off with Bulldog potentially looking like Hachi could have gotten burst down, but there's just so much healing out of the champion and Gore Drinker in general. Does manage to pick up the first kill. I can't remember who quite dropped first, but this is the thing. Bulldog with this kind of odd game state lead, but not cold lead, right? when they're the ones with the priority in this river, forcing Demise to walk into you when you've got the likes of a Leona Snap Engage and Orianna Shockwave, it can be really scary. And we saw that the fight almost went very Bulldog favored, despite the gold lead you can see at the top of your screens for Demise. So we'll have to see how both these teams kind of prioritize, you know, sort of geography of the map for the next objective.
And we're in a very weird space as well, because at the beginning of the game, we were talking about how it felt like whatever team gets control of the game should just be able to kind of run away with it. And the gold is controlled by Demise right now, but the map state feels like in areas it's controlled by Bulldog. The fact that they've been able to stack up these dragons, sure, they're down in turrets, but Infernal Soul is next up in 3 minutes time. And you think how strong Hatchie is. You think now that Casper's got the collector finished up for himself, this MF is really going to start to hurt. And at that point, they might feel a little bit more comfortable. And remember, we're talking about the ease of execution as well here. Casper will have a team that will just be able to keep him alive as he looks to try and collect in on some of those kills. It's going to be an interesting one for the next few moments. I think this dragon is going to be the next major point to play for. And I think all these teams are just going to chill out as the Horizons focus has been picked up for Pillar. Zoe, one of the champions who does actually use the item very well.
Yeah. Very strong item for Zoe. A lot of the poke mages in general, I believe. So nice pickup for himself. And yeah, I mean, if Bulldog are able to pick up this next dragon, it will effectively kind of just make this gold lead, if it stays the same, pretty much moot. Like, it's going to close that kind of gold value up just by having the additional stats and damage. Just because a lot of these champions are really strong at using...
Oh, good bubble.
Oh, very good
There's
bubble.
the Gale Force and the minion!
Hero.
Get behind me, Mr. President.
Yeah. Check that. Does that guy have a mustache? Is he Braum? Like, he really...
That minion was honestly the biggest hero for Bulldog there.
Yeah. If Casper eats that was a really long-range bubble. Like, I feel like Casper... There's a world where Casper might die to that battles.
I mean, with the Horizons focus, the Ludens, and a 14 stat measure, genuinely, that was a summoner spell getting burnt or death.
Yeah. I mean, Casper's heal just came up, so he wouldn't have even had that. So definitely knife's edge stuff. Thank you, Red Caster Minion. And Dragon now, a minute away, you can see currently the vision is controlled entirely by Bulldog. If we get a toggle onto Demise, you can see there's complete darkness. There is no vision here. So Demise, what they really want to do is try and force mid lane priority really, really high up here, and then move into this river as ideally 4, but Rifty is ideally 5, but Rifty is basing at the moment. So they're gonna have to really take their time about how they try and establish some vision or some semblance of control. Because again, we saw how the fight could have maybe gone the last time when Bulldog had river control. If they have it again this time, I'm unsure whether Demise can realistically contest this dragon and have it go positively, especially with Nunu being there. It's a nice bubble, nice bit of poke onto poke, but it's not really gonna mean anything.
To find a little bit more of that before he goes out.
Doing
a good bubble as well.
Yeah. All right, now, I mean, Bulldog don't have prior into the river. They're not the ones with first move here. It's Demise that are here first. Hachi.
Building up the old stamps, though. They're going to get a free map knockup into the shockwave. That's the one-bow combo they needed. Xandru going to try and dodge away for the moment, but he's caught out. Pillar has to flash over the wall as he does find himself a bubble, but everybody else is dead. Rifty and Pillar are going to have to do a miracle here. They do get the stun. Rifty can't quite make it over the wall, though. Dragon should just fall here as Pillar looks for the miracle steal. He finds it. Pillar saves the day for Demise.
I can't believe it. What have I just seen? Nunu has lost this Smite Consume. It's a disaster. But it's an absolute miracle still for Pillar. Being able to deny away this Infernal Soul is huge, but immediately Bulldog, they've turned onto this Baron. This time, I'm unsure whether Demise can really stop this one from happening. We've got Pillar back. I mean, man of the hour hero, but I feel like he should be able to get zoned away here. The poke shouldn't really land. And this should just be Bulldog's Baron. We'll have to see. Rifty's going in.
Rifty's dead. He has no ultimate. He flashes away. The Zenith Blade does come down as Pillar is looking for the bobble. Not going to quite find it. Rifty able to put a bit of space between him and the teammates, but he's going to get locked up and shut down. Tachi finds that kill.
And I mean, just honor Mola and Shiklin for this wombo combo, man. I hope we get a replay of that because that was absolutely bonkers. It felt like Mola just let go of the snowball because he didn't really, like, look, he's just like, I don't really want to go in. But then it hits 3 members. So Shiklin immediately on the ball. Flash shockwave, 3 members. Jungler down. Demise in arrears. Xandru drops. Pillar has to retreat away. The support rail dies. And I mean, this is where we're saying, all right, well, you know, Nunu should just be able to secure this one up. It's 2v5, but what happened?
We're not really seeing Xandru get the chance to ult. Xandru hasn't ulted once this game yet so far.
Oh, yeah, that's a great point.
Just isn't able to get the combo built up in time because there's so much he has to dodge. And that's kind of like the point where you get really hard to kill. When you've got the shield bow getting procced, you're getting all the life steal as well. But they're just not giving Xandru the opportunity, the option to find that, as Daisy's going to get summoned up and Snowball's going to go in between everybody. But a little bit of damage is going to come out over the wall from Pillar, but Daisy is already dead and Poke gets caught out momentarily, and that's actually going to force Fennec to flash.
Wait. I'm sure it was needed. I did not catch the fact that
he almost got caught by Hachi's Q.
Okay.
So he had to flash.
All right, well.
In comes another snowball, and that should just be enough to force them out of their seat. Comfortability here is, well, look, we'll get chunked out pretty heavily. Xandru jumps in, jumps out. Actually, though, looking to go for a bit more cozy. Gonna break the infernal chains, but the siege is breaking out here in the mid lane, and Demise, they are just losing their base right now. Cozy jumps in, goes for the Magnus Storm. Hachi pops ultimate. Pillar poking over the wall. The bullet time's big, and Shiklin's able to find the kill. Rifty gets a stun off onto 2, but now Demise, they're down a member, and they haven't got the damage. They haven't got the front line to work with. And Bulldog are just brute forcing their way into the base. They've got 2 cannon minions. They've got another wave behind them, and they've still got Baron to work with. The Infernal Soul Steal was big, but it didn't seem big enough here for Demise. Rifty trying to heal up a little bit more. Xandru needs to dodge away from the knockup. Is going to take it as tower number 1's going to go down. Fennec and Pillar trying to poke out as much as possible. Hachi will get caught out by the bubble. Solar Flare does connect, and Xandru has to jump away as he puts the windmill up, but Casper gets the kill, the Collector, and now Rifty trying to fight out, trying to keep himself alive for as long as possible. Closey is alive. The Nexus is bare. They have nothing to work with. Rifty's going to have to go for a miracle play here. They find 1, but it's not enough. The shutdown. The Nexus goes down, and the new kids on the block find the first win of the tournament.
First win in 18 games, so I'm sure they're really happy about that. And I mean, smashing at least, well, not at least, I would assume everyone but their own expectations here. Hachi came out huge, solo killing Rifty 2-3 times in the top side. I mean, honestly, hats off. There's not really much analysis for me to get into right now because I'm just kind of dumbfounded at this Bulldog performance that we just saw, and also the lack of performance from Rifty and Demise. I have to say, though, certainly feel bad for Fennec and Pillar. They were having a really, really strong game here, but not quite enough to pull through. And Bulldog collectively with that composition, it's really hard for Demise to ever walk into them once they had that lead, is something we said, and it came to fruition.
Yeah, it was honestly just, I mean, top lane was incredible. It was really good to see. We had expectations, and they were shattered by Hachi finding first blood onto Rifty and then just chain killing him. Kind of uncharacteristic mistakes from Rifty, really, in lane. We expect him to be the kind of player that if he does get caught once, it's kind of like it's just a one-time thing. But Hachi just was on it. Every opportunity Rifty gave him, he took. And I don't think it was like Rifty making mistakes. I just think it was Hachi punishing any opportunity he was given and executing into those kills. Like I said, we didn't see a single ultimate come out of the Samira all game. And that was like a 30-odd minute game. So honestly, just really, really good punish, really crushing game from Bulldog, and getting a win over Demise. Really good start for them for the season. Now, guys, we're going to throw to a quick break. And when we're back with a breakdown of some of the plays in that game and an interview. So we'll see you in a second.
We've started up in the morning light. We're 'cause there's no stopping us once we've started up, just to say goodbye. To our dreams that color bright like autumn leaves. Not looking back, we're not afraid to fly. We're forever young and we'll never die. We're one step closer to our dreams that burn as bright as we can see. We're gonna jump out, climb so high we reach the top of the endless sky. What's that strange face staring at me in the mirror, in the mirror? What's this strange change of season coming over, coming over? It goes on and on and on, and it never seems to stop. It goes on and on.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the UKLC. We have an interview coming up shortly, but before that, talk a little bit more about the game we just had, because honestly, I said it just before the break, but it felt like that game kind of shattered some expectations for us. Kind of crucially looking towards that top lane, but if we also step away from that and look elsewhere as well, overall, I really thought Demise had this. I really liked what they'd done, but the draft, I think, was the big thing there for Bulldog. I think they drafted a comp which was, you know, it had a very clear how to play it, and they just executed on it well. Mola had a really good game. Now, we were told that it might not be Mola, it might be Mola. How do we say it?
We will get around to it.
We'll figure it out.
We'll figure it out.
Mola or Mola or however I say your name. Just DM me on Twitter or something and let me know if I'm saying it
One
wrong.
of us, let us know.
Now, before we get into our interview with Shiklin, we're going to actually have a little look at our play of the game. So we have some replays to look at. And Jamada, we did this in the NLC Full Open, and you had experience with this. I don't. So I'm going to let you take over here and draw some images on the screen for us.
Okay, so let's paint a quick scene. I'll try and be as fast as I can. Oh god, I can't remember how to get the shapes up. I'm pretty sure it's this. Okay, so we've got Shiklin Poke Mola all on the bottom side. They've already sort of tried to gain positional advantage here in this river, and we can see Mola, he's channeling up the snowball just to kind of potentially zone off the members of Demise who are funneling into this choke right here, which this is one of the things that we kind of highlighted as being really scary for Demise to do, right? Walk into chokes versus the likes of Oriana, versus a Bullet Time, versus Leona Snap Engage, right? And they do just that, and they get punished for it. Nothing else really to say. Mola, it feels like this snowball was kind of a throwaway. He just wanted to, like, he channeled it up. He's like, never mind. And then he let it run. And it actually hit 3 members. And you can see Shiklin immediately flash forward, 3-man shockwave, wombo combos there. The jungler immediately dies. And from this, it's looking like, okay, well, I guess Bulldog, they're just going to pick up this dragon, right? There's no jungler available. It's Nunu. There's no way Zoe can steal this. And especially not without Summoner Spell Smite. And Mola forgets his F key exists. So Pillar, hero play here, it doesn't fundamentally change the outcome of the game, but certainly very shaky time for Bulldog, it felt like. But
yeah,
at the end of the day, they baroned off the back of it, and the Baron basically won them the game.
Yeah, I mean, that was honestly, it was a great steal, but I think everything else had just gone way too right for Bulldog, for Demise to really find anything from that. And after that replay ended, we did see them try and contest him at the Baron, and it cost Rifty his life. And then, like you said, the Baron was then used just to close that game out. And Bulldog, there was no hesitation. Sometimes we see teams that kind of struggle to close out, but they just knew they had it, and they knew they could close it out there. So really good stuff from them. Now we actually do have an interview standing by with the mid laner for Bulldog, Shiklin. Hopefully you're ready to go. How's it going, mate? You all right?
Yeah, I'm not too bad. Yeah, I'm still shaking a little bit from the hype because we kind of ended that game quick.
Yeah, I bet. Was it like a moment where you felt like we've got this prior to the dragon, or was that dragon just like, oh, we can win now? Or did you feel like you already had enough control of the game, and maybe it was just like a bit quicker than you expected? What was kind of going through the team comms at that point?
I think once we had the third dragon, we were pretty certain we were going to win because we thought our team comp outscales theirs, and being 3 dragons up, even if like something bad happens like what did with the steal, which actually wasn't Mola's fault, by the way. He was telling us to stop hitting it at 1/600 like constantly in our ears, and we just didn't. So that wasn't his fault. That was our fault. That was our fault. Yeah, okay. that was us. That was us. But like as soon as we had the third Drake, we were pretty certain that we were just going to outscale and win. I didn't think we would win with the first Baron push, but they like just consistently entered space which they shouldn't be able to enter, so we punished them for that.
Yeah, and I just got to ask, obviously I've spoken with you at length about UKLC like prior to this. Obviously promoting in with Bulldogs is a really big deal for you. You know, how relieved do you feel coming in first game and actually picking up a W against what most people would probably consider like mid to top in terms of when we speak about Demise of the league?
Well, we've come into this with no coaching staff currently, which kind of made it so that we felt like the first few games, you know, we probably kind of have to take the L because it's me drafting. But we expected to finish around mid-table regardless. So beating a team like Demise, who we also expect to finish like middle to the top, is like really huge for our standings.
Yeah, definitely. And
is there anything else you kind of got your eyes on? Any other teams that you know who's kind of like the team that you really want to overcome in this kind of first half?
I guess everyone would say Resolve, right? Because they're sort of like the ones to watch and the ones to beat. But for me personally, it would have to be London. It is the All Girls on last split, and it is full of like people who I consider like good friends, like Mapillion and Beely and PFI. So I personally really want to go up against London and beat London. But obviously, Resolve, everyone wants to beat Resolve.
Yeah, well, I mean, of course. Thank you very much, and congratulations on your first win of the season, first win at all here. So good job on that, and hopefully we get to speak to you again soon in the future. So thank you for joining us.
Cheers, guys.
I do find it quite funny that said studio above us on the feed when we are not in a studio. We're in our bedrooms right now.
Bedroom is the...
It's an optimistic outlook there. But yeah, guys, thank you very much for joining us for that first game. We will be getting ready to go into our second one. So have a wee, have a cup of tea. We'll see you for our second game of the UKLC. That'll be Enclave versus Envision. It's going to be a doozy. See you in a second.